Years of underinvestment in infrastructure spending and maintenance are beginning to bite in Gauteng. This has nearly 50% of water in the province is classified as non-revenue, meaning it is lost through leaks or illegal connections. Financial Mail's editor-at-large, Natasha Marrian, joins us for a look at what's behind Gauteng's water crisis. Natasha, thanks so much for your time today. Now, doesn't this feel like a deja vu, given that we're facing a similar water crisis in Gauteng just years after Cape Town's devastating water shortage in 2018? Here we are again with another economic hub with taps running dry.
Unfortunately, this time it's a lot worse because in Cape Town in 2018, that was a drought that was a 1 in 500-year event. Literally, that's what experts say. It was quite a rare phenomenon, and that's what led to that water crisis back in 2018, and it was no less devastating. I mean, the city of Cape Town at the time even had an evacuation plan for the city in place in case taps went dry at the time. But the situation we're facing in Gauteng is markedly different because there are long-term structural problems with our water system that is now beginning to have an impact.
Let's talk about those structural issues at play. What is the root cause playing out here, and what can we do to make things better?
So the government has already recognized the problems that caused the structural decline in the water system in Gauteng, especially in its municipalities. In the story, we go back on to the early 2000s into how the utilities in Johannesburg were set up, how Joburg Water was set up, and how its budget was actually ring-fenced. Joburg Water would collect revenue, and it would spend that revenue on maintenance, on building new reservoirs, on building new pump stations. But from the late 2000s onwards, 2010 onwards, that changed, and the city, the revenue from water began going into the main coffers of the city. So water revenue was no longer ring-fenced for maintenance, but used for a variety of other things. If there was a shortfall somewhere else, water resources would be used to maintain those areas. So this caused a massive backlog and in infrastructure and in maintenance of that infrastructure. And this is the problem the city of Joburg is facing with in particular. To rectify that, the Treasury is working with the three big cities in Gauteng. Tshwane has already adopted a new plan to ring-fence water revenue and to channel that into maintenance. They did that in June. So has Johannesburg. So hopefully in the next 5 years, things will get a little bit better. But it's a long journey, unfortunately, not like the drought situation in Cape Town where, once it rained, things sort of started getting back to normal.
Natasha, we talk about infrastructure issues, we talk about, maintenance that wasn't really taking place. What role do you think perhaps corruption and mismanagement played in the water crisis we're facing in the province?
So this is the difficulty, the technical experience inside Joburg Water and the very experienced engineers, those who were really knowledgeable on the systems, on how it all works, the engineers, all began leaving once the utility became under-resourced, became simply a little bit more than a technical office. So a lot of skills has been lost in that space, and there has been a lot of people coming in, and corruption allegations are present. But I think the main thrust is that these entities were reshaped to no longer focus on providing this crucial service. They became havens for jobs for pals, patronage, all sorts of things that are not designed to focus on their primary function, which is to provide water and to build infrastructure to provide the city of Johannesburg with water.
Natasha, I just want to bring back the situation that happened in Cape Town for a bit. I know, two different problems here, but surely they can be lessons learned from what happened in Cape Town that could perhaps make the province, the country, a bit more ready for such situations.
Yes, absolutely. The lessons learned have really been harnessed by the Department of Water Affairs nationally. The DG of Water Affairs, Sean Phillips, is working with an independent platform called the Platform for Water in Gauteng, and they have recruited top officials from the city of Cape Town who manage that water crisis. Key to those officials is Gisela Kaiser, who headed up their sort of communications campaign, which resulted in a massive drop in water consumption in Cape Town. I mean, the campaign would shame users who use too much water. We know that part of the problem in Gauteng is that we use too much water.
Yeah.
So Gauteng uses about 200 and I think it's 273 liters per individual per day, and the norm international, 280 I think, and then the norm internationally is 173 liters per day. So we need to cut back on our individual use of water, and so they are harnessing the experience of communicators and even technical engineers that headed up the interventions in the city of Cape Town in 2018 to get involved in this process. And the National Water Department, as well as the National Treasury, is also involved, because as we know, Gauteng is the heartbeat of our economy, right? So a water crisis in Gauteng is a death knell for the economy.
Natasha, it seems like, we resolve one issue and another issue just comes about. Having recently, addressed the energy crisis at Eskom, we're now facing these water issues. Do you think that, the water crisis has the potential to have the kind of impact that Eskom had on our economy?
Absolutely. I think it definitely does. It did in the city of Cape Town back in 2018. It did have a harrowing effect on business there. So it is essential that we address this. And the way municipalities, water is a function of municipalities and the national government. And the way municipalities ran water for the last decade is beginning to bite. And it's not just in Gauteng, it's across the country, but we're feeling it so intensely in Gauteng because our demand is so great for water. So it's all of those years of not doing the right thing, a lack of maintenance, channeling the money in the wrong places where it should not be going, instead of into critical resources like water, is now beginning to bite. And it does have a negative effect on the economy, and it will if the problem is not addressed now. The National Water Minister, Pemi Majodina, in Parliament did say that this is a crisis that we can manage, and if we manage it now, we won't get to that point where it starts having that kind of an impact. But we have to have role players in the province that are willing to listen and are willing to do what it takes to turn the situation around.
And you're absolutely right. It's not a problem that Gauteng is only facing. I can confirm that in the Free State, we've been dealing with water problems for years now. So these plans that are being implemented should, be implemented countrywide. Natasha, thanks so much for your time and your insight. That was Natasha Marrian, editor-at-large for the Financial Mail.